Hey, we're here with Muscle Matters. I'm here with Jarie Bolander. We've had lunch break, Muscle Matters, and Ministry Matters, and he's just got a great philosophy of life. I can't imagine another guest that I've enjoyed more than you, Jarie. It's just been a pleasure. I know that the book that we're previewing here, it's called Ride or Die, and it's loving through tragedy, a husband's memoirs about him and his wife, who is actually passed on in 2017, but Jarie is here to tell her story. If you get a signed book, you'll actually get her signature. Jarie has just done a wonderful touch there. So you want to go out and get the book, listen to the shows, because Jarie, you have something to say, and can't wait to hear it. Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Muscles matter because they do matter, don't they, Steve?
You know what, Tom? I think I missed you. You've been playing hooky from me for so long.
No.
So, I blessed to go on vacation is how I should say it, huh?
Yeah, we had a great vacation, and I love what you and Blake have been bringing to Muscle Matters.
Oh, I love Blake.
Oh, you guys, there again, I was telling Jarie that you guys are the only two that I trust. You know that. In the fitness industry, because so many people can mislead you. But if you want to go to Sportlanders West, and how can they find you?
We're located at 7420 District Boulevard, right across the street from Nestle's Ice Cream.
You can't miss that one. I know Jarie likes yings and yangs and balance. Nestle's Ice Cream or Sportslanders West.
I mean, right next door is a candy store.
Yeah.
They're not my friends yet, though. I don't know why. I think they just see me and go, no.
Yeah, you're not going to, no business there. So we're here today because we do believe muscle matters, and our guest today is author Jarie Bolander. Jarie Bolander. I've said that wrong once and many times right. So he's got a book out, and I'm going to say that every man needs to buy this book or get this book. And if you're a woman and you are going through something, or your family is, men need to be able to understand how to grieve. And his book, Loving Through Tragedy, a Husband's Memoir, Ride or Die. It's a book, and it's part of his journey, and you want to read it. His wife passed away in 2017 of leukemia, and Jarie is a writer. He's written 8 other books. Now, Steve, I don't think that's a talent you and I have. We've been given other talents, but not writing.
Well, they have an AI now. You can just talk into it.
No, I've already tried that. Why do guys like us come up with that? We want
because
the easy way.
We
want the easy. I already asked Jarie that, and he says no, because they don't know what's in your head. They don't know what's in your heart. So I think you and I both, we fell in that hole.
Yes, but you know what? I'm still going with the AI to write something for me.
Okay, I'm not a writer, but I love part of what
I think
Jarie
it's an awesome
does.
book. I mean, because as men, especially this macho persona that you
we
put
talked
on
about that.
with this whole muscle building, the jiu-jitsu, you carry this alpha, and you're not allowed to cry.
Oh, well, he was listening to us. Ah.
You must have been. You must have been. Yeah.
No, I love it. So Jarie, talk to us about your journey with fitness. And Steve and I will call it working out, but I do believe it's more in the area of fitness for people, because that's something you and I did. We just did it with a lot of weight. You did it with a lot more weight than I, because you obviously did. But tell us about your journey and how it helped you, especially even when you get into the tough times with your wife, and Jarie already on another show talked about some addictions that he had to battle and had to deal with, which I think men have too, and I think you and I have dealt with some of that. We all fall down those rat holes,
yes. Right? And with us being extremists, it's not a small rat hole, because
It's a pretty deep rat hole.
Yes.
For sure, right? Yeah, I mean, my journey into fitness started when I was really young. Played sports as a kid.
I love that.
Baseball, basketball, soccer. Played soccer all through high school. Wasn't good enough to play in college. But started to do endurance athletics, like extreme endurance athletics.
See, you have to explain that, because you just lost Steve and myself.
And the word endurance, I mean.
Well, what's interesting is that, so I did triathlons, I did an Ironman, I did all these things. And I was actually a lot skinnier than I am now. Now I'm about 220. Back then I was like 185, 190. And what was interesting is like, I was, 50-mile run to me is like, this is not a big deal, right? But lifting weights, big deal, because I didn't have that build. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
the technique, and I also didn't have the muscle mass. So what I ended up doing is I sort of retired from extreme endurance athletics and then started to do more weightlifting and rucking. So, under load, right? And then did some extreme stuff in that where, 48 hours with no sleep in the mountains and stuff, kind of crazy stuff. But
Yeah,
what was
because there's
interesting,
things out there that can kill you.
there's lots of stuff
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
woods that can kill you.
My roughing it is Motel 6. Not happening.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But what I found was that, fitness is one of the best ways to regulate your mood. It is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to relieve stress. And also, I'm a big Henry Rollins fan. I don't know if you've ever read his article called The Iron. Like the iron never lies to you. 100 pounds is 100 pounds. It's just going to get there, and you're just going to like lift the damn weight, And
Well, Steve and I come from that school when somebody says I can lift that, and we go, we got a bench press.
Yes.
And I can put the weight on it for you. Yeah, you get that how many times, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
What can you press? Oh, 405. And you're like, oh, really? That's 4 plates on both sides. And people are like, anyway, they go, we'll go and we'll.
No, you want to come work out?
So that's either you put up or you shut up, literally.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty, right? 100 pounds is 100 pounds, right? And so as I've gotten older and had all the endurance athletics and doing jiu-jitsu, I realized that weight training is essential to my well-being. And
It is.
when I was going through all the stuff with Jane, her leukemia diagnosis and all that, what happens is you never really rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of training. And when you are going through super stressful times, your training is what saves you. And what saved me was the training. It was, hey, I knew how to, I had enough endurance and enough muscle mass that I could get through it. And I had also had the discipline to say, you know what, I got to go to the gym today just because I'm so stressed out. And you know what, I lift some weight. I feel much better. And the discipline of going to the gym, the discipline of running, or the discipline of jiu-jitsu really grounded me when I was going through all of this craziness, right? Like I literally just wanted to like vacate my mind of the BS I was going through. And best way to do that is to go do something physical. And I think for men, what's interesting is, you go through tragedy and everyone's like, well, you should talk about it. Right? Like, you guys don't talk about it enough. And I'm like, look, honestly, when I talk about it, sometimes I relive it. That's a trauma I don't want to relive. But if I'm just like, don't want to talk about it and I can like sling some weight around or like go for a run or punch a bag, that's also the therapy to get me to the point where I actually can talk about it.
It's productive.
Yeah.
I can relate to that 100%. My last show was tragedy. I was going through something horrible, and I was like, I'm just going to do a show. I don't want to think about it no more.
Yeah.
That was the easiest way for me.
Yeah. And I love what you said because you feel better. And I think that there's a metaphysical thing that happens. They talk about the endorphins, and we talk about men that are addicted to substances that aren't good for us because we're still looking for that high. And I think if you can find it in the training, because I do see people when they cut off training completely, they start to get depressed a little easier. They don't adapt well. They're like, man, I used to be able to blow through this stuff. And I go, well, you're missing a drug that you've been used to getting a normal supply of, and that's endorphins.
Right.
And a lot of people talk about how that's such a healthy drug. And I think on one of our Muscle Matters, we talked about they've discovered that there's also another hormone that your body releases under stress of resistance training, and they're calling it a hope drug. That when your body is under physical stress and you accomplish it, there's hope that you can do it again and again and again. So it's like little mountains that you can achieve, where you're really trying to climb a big mountain in life, you with your wife and leukemia, and you had, hey, if I can go punch a bag, I'm releasing, energy, and then I'm getting an endorphin, and I'm accomplishing something. So when I leave, I have a little bit of hope that I didn't have when I came in the gym. Yeah. And I think that's the value that a lot of people.
Not to mention, it still allows you to carry your alpha persona, because you're not sitting somewhere crying on a therapist's couch. You are releasing energy, because most men, when we're sad, we're angry. That's just the way it works as a male. You don't want to be sad, because we're not supposed to be sad. We're supposed to be the top of the mountain. We're supposed to take care of everything. If the house falls apart, we're supposed to hold it up, hug everybody, and say it's going to be all right. So we have to release that anger some way, somehow, and it's always through something like that. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing that works, and I love that. So as you've been through a lot, I mean, you've been into our world where the resistance training's there. You've been into the rock climbing, mountain running regime that trips us out, and then you've been into the Ironman. I can't imagine swimming for 2 miles, Steve. That's called drowning for me.
Where's the guy in the jet ski?
Yeah,
the guy in the jet ski. Just come pick me up, and we'll go back.
And
there you go.
And
a mulligan. That's what they call it. You get one of those. You get a mulligan while you're out there.
I just get credit for it just because I stepped in the water.
I just want the shiny medal at the end, a participation medal.
So then you went in to jiu-jitsu. What did you have martial arts in your life before, or what drew you to martial arts?
Yeah, I did Taekwondo when I was 17 or 18. And then didn't do anything until literally 3 weeks after Jane died is when I started jiu-jitsu. And one of the things that I, over time, have learned is that, the male persona, being prepared, being the warrior, you got to be prepared for if something's going to happen. Like, I do not want to be physically unable to help someone that I love. Just full stop. If someone's messing with my now fiance or her daughter, I need to take care of business until someone can take me, until someone can get out, we can get out of this. I need to be able to get out of the situation.
Well,
I can't rely on anyone else.
I like when Jordan Peterson talks about a man needs to be fierce in those situations. Yeah. Like we've all talked about, toxic masculinity needs to be at its height when you need to be able to help someone you love get out of a dangerous situation, whatever that is. A lot of times it's leaving or backing up. I mean, how many times do you see that as a bouncer, Steve?
Well, it's your job to be the sacrifice if you're a male.
Yeah. You're
supposed to sacrifice so everybody can get away.
Yeah. And I love your story, because you always didn't have to use your strength being a bouncer. I think you probably use mental judo a lot, right?
Yes. I had a big plus size, 300 and God knows how much pounds. That's a good advantage for me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. No, people are going to think twice. That's the thing that I think is again, when you're prepared, and I don't even think it's toxic masculinity that, being prepared and being that aggression and having aggressiveness. I think it's just part of the male control. Like, we have a performance enhancing drug called testosterone. Yes. We can build that into something very powerful. And it is our responsibility as men to control that power and use it. I know it sounds corny, for good or to protect people that cannot protect themselves. And if you think of it that way, then you should be training every single facet of your life. Like, I have a friend, we lift weights a couple times a week. And we're both martial artists, and he's also into Krav Maga, and I'm into jiu-jitsu. And he's always like, look, this is your body's 401k. You need to put in the work, so when you get old, you can take from that 401k. Now, of course, we're not pushing 4 plates. In my heyday, I could do 2 plates, so I'm good to go. But I'm not as big as you guys. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to put into this savings, and you need to be prepared. Like, he does Krav Maga because if something goes down, he knows what to do. And people may think, oh, well, you're just being aggressive. You're being toxic masculinity. You shouldn't show this thing off. But The other thing that Jordan Peterson says, the other thing like Mike Tyson says is a great example is bad men are controlled by good men doing physical things to them. So the reason why, like, as just an aside, everyone on social media can say all these crazy things and not get hit in the head, it's because we're not around them. But if all three of us were in a room, right, and we're all kind of getting a little out of hand, things would be taken care of. You wouldn't even have to do anything. You'd just be like, oh, yeah, I should be cool. Bouncer's the best example, right? Like it's the reason you're there is to moderate the a-holes that are trying to make things not cool. And that's our job.
I used to tell that to people all the time, and they would say things to me, and I go, I get paid just as much money to sit on that chair as I do to come over here and mess with you. I'd rather sit on the chair.
Yeah.
Have fun and do it smart.
Yeah, and if good men don't do that, if good men don't prepare and train and all this BS about you can't show this and you can't be mad, whatever. No, it's our job. Like it's our social responsibility. In fact, to if you're in a position to protect someone that can't protect themselves, you better be ready. Just better be ready, and that's the philosophy, right?
I love what you said about the samurai warriors. I mean, they're basically there to, balance out. Hey, I'm ready to write poetry or sing, or fight. It's your choice, And I think we have to be ready. I have a friend, and he lives in Ventura, and his daughters are into jiu-jitsu, and he started picking it up. And I was asking him, his name's Brad Lawson. And I asked Brad, I go, so what have you found? He goes, I found that all these years that I've looked at this, I've thought it's easier than it is. And I go, oh, so you thought the two guys were just like doing a dance when they're grabbing onto each other's gi. Do they still call them gis?
Yeah.
So he said, I found out when I grabbed a man that's my same weight and I wanted him to go left, he doesn't want to go left. He wants to go right. And he goes, I realized that right there is a struggle. And he goes, that's why I need to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to struggle.
Yeah.
He goes, I need to physically know. And he goes, I always thought that I would be okay when I got to a situation. But he goes, this is a great preparatory place because I started to realize I'm not prepared. And it's one of those things that he got involved into it when he was 45. And he loves it. I mean, he's enjoying it. He's doing it as fitness, but he's also learning, and he's doing it like we all think. He's doing it. He feels better when he leaves. Mm-hmm. He feels not so much in the struggle or the fight, but he feels accomplished when he leaves because now he's starting to get it. He's able to handle somebody maybe, through a move or a counter move that may be a real life situation.
It's a sense of security as a man. It's one thing to think you can do something, versus actually knowing you can do something.
Steve, I went into the gym the other day, and I haven't shared a lot, and I really do feel that I've been training heavier. A lot of your advice is helping me out, and I got in there, and I've been lifting a little heavier, and I haven't touched the 80-pound dumbbells in 10 years. And I go, I'm going to work up to those. And the other day I did 10 reps. And I was like, I left going, there's a little gas in the tank still. But it wasn't that I didn't do it. I didn't know I could do it. Once I did it, I go, so now I wonder if I can get the 90s.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be, though.
I was like, I left my wife. My wife, there again, Jarie, my wife's she's my cheerleader. She really is. Yeah, and that doesn't mean she's always saying, Tom, good job, because I was limping in the other day when I came and I go, okay, I can't limp because she's going to tell me that I'm getting out of hand and hanging around you too much. And so I straightened up and she goes, hey, you're not limping. I go, oh, you noticed. She goes, she goes, no, I noticed that the other day. She goes, I just figured it was just something that you were doing because I ordered the supplements,
Uh-huh.
And my wife she has a smile. She looked at me, and we've been married almost 30 years, and she's like, well, he'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, same with jiu-jitsu. Like, I get injured, right?
Yes.
Or I get black eye or bruises or whatever, and, or limping or get, whatever. And, of course, Minerva and her daughter just look at me and they go, "God, hurt again, huh?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine," because I don't want to stop, right? And the other thing is part of, like, to your point, part of working out, part of pushing yourself. Like, sometimes you get injured. Oh, you don't want to be, but I mean, you're in that situation. And what I always tell people with jujitsu, it's like, it's such a humbling thing, because there are people that are smaller than me that could tap me out, break my arm. There are people that are faster. There are people that are bigger that I could do a tap out. And it's very humbling to know that you have this power. And you're also like, God, I never want to get into a fight. Like, I just don't want to get into a fight. This is not going to end well for anyone. But if I have to, I'm going to go hard, because I have to. Like, if the situation warrants it, someone puts hands on my family, or, like, again, you got to try to do like what you do as a bouncer. Hey, it's cool. When you got to go, right? Like, it's,
Yeah.
And you want to be prepared, and you don't want to be like, oh, would I be okay? You're like, no, I'm going to be okay. So
That's where it's power under constraint.
yeah.
Now
under control. Correct.
Yes. Now I got a friend. He's a captain in the city fire department. He's a big guy, about 240, and he goes to Tommy's Club.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was sitting there going, one day, he's a big guy, and he's in Tommy's, probably what, 212.
Yeah, don't say that out loud. He'll be mad at you though.
But he's about 212, and so he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The Gracies black belted him, and so Mike one day told me, he goes, I think I can like take Tommy a little bit. And I go, don't try. So one day, because he comes to a Bible study I do, one day he came in, and you could tell that he was a little busted up. And I go, man, what happened? He goes, well, I thought I'd give Tommy a go. And I go, oh, really? So I just listened to his story. So I called Tommy after the Bible study. I go, hey, Mike showed up today a little bit limp. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I was sitting there, and I usually apply a force to force. And then all of a sudden I felt him.
Try to one up Captain Mochismo?
He goes, I felt him want to go more. And I thought, well, let's do this. But he goes, I didn't crank it up just one notch. I cranked it up about 30.
That's Tommy. That's why when you said that, I'm going, wow.
I was just like, he goes, yeah. He goes, I don't get a chance to work with bigger guys like 240. And I don't want to just say, hey, come out so I can throw you around. But once he started that, he goes, I was like, so the next week I saw Mike, and I said, hey, Mike, Tommy told me what really happened. He goes, yeah, I knew I made a mistake, but he wouldn't stop. I was like, yeah. I go, well.
That's 100% him.
Yeah, but like you said, it was, he was just matching up force for force.
Matching force to force, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like,
that's the control. Yeah.
It was like, oh.
I guess we're going to go play a little bit more today. We're going to go a little harder.
That's why my nickname for him is Captain Mochismo. You've heard of the Mochismo. It's the gorillas and this wild. So that's my nickname. He's Captain Mochismo, and he's been Captain Mochismo since we were kids.
We haven't had Tommy. We need Tommy on the show.
And he's just that guy that he's going to try to stand on top of the pile and throw as much poo as he can. So when you want to throw poo? Watch what we can do.
He's like the silverback, right?
I've got a friend that actually thinks he's a assassin. If you ever watch Tommy's page, and he travels all these dogs. Tommy, I shouldn't say this on you because you're an assassin. You'll probably kill me. But he do. I mean, he goes all over the world, doesn't he?
Yes, he's a world traveler.
I live vicariously through him, and I've told him that. But some people are like, I think he's an assassin or something. I go, I don't know. We could say that, and he's not with us.
Yes, Captain Mochismo's not here.
Yeah. So I love that. So how do you level up with that? Because there again, do they keep it within the dojo? Because I don't know anything about this. Steve, you might know more than I. So do they keep it in the dojo where if you're going to like level up, you're going to have to be able to handle somebody else that's a higher belt than you or something?
I mean, in jiu-jitsu, it's a little bit different in terms of the promotions. Typically, at least in my gym, we have to compete in order to do so. We go to a competition and we just see what happens, right? So the belt system and the whole way it works is a little bit different. There's really no like karate, taekwondo, there's these forms and you demonstrate a form. Hey, you get, it's very subjective and up to the instructor. And a lot of the times it's how well you fight. Like, did you win? Did you place? And so it's really a little bit, again, and every dojo is different, every academy is different, but that's typically the way it works. And it's just it's one of those things where you sort of they call it professors as opposed to senseis. It's like when the professor's going to put you up, he's going to put you up because he thinks you're gonna, you got to take it to the next level. So it's hard to it's hard to explain, but you just sort of know, and they know.
Do you ever go to the gym and go, I'm going there tonight. I got my normal workout partner, but I want to practice on this, so I'm going there. It'd be like us going to,
a different facility. Yes.
And to me, it's fascinating because I love the martial arts. I love the spiritual side to it. I love that it's a mental thing. I know when I go to train for my CCW, which I do have and get every 2 years, is that the instructor that I use, he's familiar in martial arts, and he was a sheriff for like 30 years, and he was also he's got a master in counseling, and so his big thing is the mind prepared.
Yeah.
What is it Sansu that says chance falls to the prepared mind?
Yeah.
100%. It's like the mind is the weapon and the extremities are the tools. So the mind is what's really controlling the,
Yes.
you have the mind muscle thing, but it's training the mind. I think that's the repetitiveness.
That's the purpose of practice.
That's why you could probably, if I put on the right song right now, you could go to a routine that you did 25 years ago and do it shot for shot, right? I'll hear a song and I'll say, I posted that in 1982. We're going down a rat hole in bodybuilding now. But I'm just saying, but it's mind muscle because you do it so much.
Yes.
And when it, you just do. So I love that fitness is part of your regime because when you talk to people, and I like the fact that, we can tell people that the body is, I think, designed to have every aspect. We talked about the emotional. We talked about men have to be able to tap into our feelings, even though we've been taught not to. I think we've been taught wrongly because I think we need to, but it has to be at the right circumstance. We have to be physically fit, and I love it that you talk about the older you get, you need to have some strength. That's all brand new for fitness. Fitness is talking about older guys like me. We have to, me, I'm squatting again, but not with a bar on my back.
Yes.
You have to be able to do functional movements. Squatting is something that I'm used every day. There's a movement
out of a chair. You got to squat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the muscle mass, and they do. If you just look at all the science, as a man, when you get to be about 50, maybe 55, you start to lose muscle mass, right? So if you were younger and you were building up a ton of muscle mass, then you've got all that in the tank. So if you've seen anyone as they get older, they start to shrivel up. But they also don't have as much resilience when they fall. They're not as dynamic. That the muscle also, of course, raises your metabolism. It's just generally a good idea to have lean muscle mass on your frame when you get older. Full stop. It's like can't think of another way to say it. And again, my friend Scott, we just talk about it's your body's 401k. Like put it in. Yes. Like put it in.
Like that.
Like don't be like, oh, I shouldn't lift weights. Like, no. Like any kind of weight. It doesn't even have to be heavyweight. Like you guys are doing 2-3 plates. Like it could be any kind of weight.
I agree. Resistance. I like the 401k analogy, Jarie, because you have to have the deposits, and there's more deposits when you're young, and there's more withdrawals when you're old.
Correct.
And my wife, surgeon, after they removed her colon, it was like an 8-10 hour surgery, and I asked him, "Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna be there the whole time? That's a full day. That's over 2 hours overtime in my book. And he goes, well, yeah, you want me there, right? And I go, I do. And he goes, but that's why I work out. He was into fitness.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes, a lot of people don't think that's part of my wheelhouse, but I work out so I can stand up and operate. So it was funny, after he finished the surgery with my wife, there was no wind because he removed her colon. And I said, so how did it go? He goes, well, one thing I liked about working on your wife was everything was where it's supposed to be. She was in shape, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
He got her open and he goes,
Yeah.
well, this is where it should be. And I didn't have to look around for something. And I was like, oh, so when my wife woke up, she goes, how'd the doctor say it went? And I goes, well, he gave you a compliment. He said everything was where it should be. And he didn't have to, dig through a lot of extra layers. So it was interesting for me to hear that from it. I mean, he was looking for the pony in the room,
Yeah, yeah.
Because the surgery wasn't going to be like, yay, we did it.
No, he's just like, glad that was easier on me.
Yeah. He said
Especially
that.
after 8 hours.
Yeah.
You wanted it as easy as possible.
Yeah. I told my wife, I go, you win. You were fit all these years and it paid off.
It pays
You
off.
just happened to be unconscious when it paid off, And we can laugh about that now because this book that Jarie Bolander wrote was about his wife and their journey through leukemia. And she left this earth in 2017, and Jarie is still being able to be used, writing books for others, and talking about his fitness here. We also had him on lunch break. We talked about his life story. We talked about his philosophy for ministry, which ministry matters, and it's him writing books, inspiration for books, how he does it. And so I just want to tell the audience that they need to just be able to check in and be able to get the book because they can get it. There is a jariebolander.com, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's something that he has, and you could go out there and they probably can get to anything from there, can't they?
Yeah, everything's on there. So
Yeah.
try to make it easy.
Well, it's funny because we've had him explain it to each time, and he goes, "That wasn't my idea."
That was the publicist.
He goes, "I write the books. I got the material out," and they're like, "Well, let's let the public know about it now." So it's what you do, advertise.
Yes.
So I'll let you finish up, Steve, and take us out.
No, I think that book is awesome. It's something that men should read. I mean, it's an awesome book. It sounds very awesome. It's something that men should read just because you're opening up and showing that side of men that we don't show, and it's coming from somebody like you that is now crossed over into the alpha world of tournament jiu-jitsu. You obviously are at a tournament school, so you got medals now. So that's
not very many, but yeah.
Well, you had to get a couple to get the
More
blue
than
belt.
me.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, you got just getting in the arena. The man in the arena is the one I appreciate the most, even if you win or lose. If you had the guts to get up there and get in there, that's like you 1,000 times better than most, right? As you guys know. Just getting in the gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Driving there is half my battle.
I have nothing to say after that. That was it.
Well, the other day I had to share this. My wife made me go to the gym, and she asked me, she goes, "Tom, let's go to the gym." And I was like, today's the day. Maybe I'm not. I had every excuse in my head. And she goes, "Well, I need you to drive me. I want you to drop me off, and then you come back and pick me up." And I go, "Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well go to the gym." And so I did. So I came out, and I was like, "Hey, my wife made me go." Somebody goes, "Hey, you're here on Saturday." I go, "Yeah, my wife made me go." Felt like a loser there, but I felt like a winner when I came out, And I told my wife that. I go, "Hey, I had to confess today that the only reason I was here because you made me go." And it was her thing is the older I get, she keeps pushing me, which she needs to. So, Jarie, thank you for being on our shows. I really, really, really believe in this book. I think our audience would be beneficial if they would read it. And there again, Jarie, I hope to have more communication with you because I'm going to definitely connect to you on social media because I want to see your just what you put out every day. This guy puts out amazing TikToks. You guys, if you don't go out there and see Sportslanders West, I get a laugh and entertainment, Steve. I do. Ask my wife.
Well, that's
she goes,
what
"What do you
what
like?"
it's there
She
for.
goes, "What do you watch?" There's only two things I laugh at: cat videos and you doing your advertisement. She goes,
Cat
have
videos.
strong
Wow, I did not
competition.
expect that.
"Oh yeah, I think cat videos are hilarious." And I was never a cat guy until I had 2 daughters. And if you're a man out there and you don't like cats and you're young enough to have kids, then you might have daughters and you'll start to like cats. And one day she goes, "You watching cat videos?" I go, "No, I'm watching Steve. You've been laughing for like 10 minutes." I go, "He provides 10 minutes of entertainment."
I love
So,
it.
and I go, "It's informative entertainment, nutritional entertainment."
There
So,
you go.
Jarie, thank you again. Steve, thank you. It's always a blessing
Yes,
to be
sir.
around you and
Yes, sir.
with you. And other than that, thank you for tuning in. Watch Lunch Break and Ministry Matters and Muscle Matters with Jarie Bolander. God bless.
Thank you so much. Take care.